Hello friends, my name is Devesh Gupta. I am a qualified chartered accountant and a company secretary. This is the first video friends I am going to upload on the YouTube where we will discuss about the journal ledger. Before I start with the definition of the journal ledger, let's understand few terminology in this respect. So discuss about the transactions. What is transactions friends? When I talk about transactions, I refer to a business transactions which can be measured in a monetary terms, also known as a financial transactions. Suppose I invest money into the business or capital into the business in cash through bank account is a financial transaction. Business purchase raw material for the trading purpose or for manufacturing purpose is a transactions. Business purchase a fixed asset is a transactions. Business made a sales is a transactions. So first of all, we measure these transactions in the financial or a monetary term before we record into the journal ledger. So there are three ways to record the transactions in the journal ledger, friends. The first is applications. Sometimes some companies use applications for AP, sometimes for AR or for intercompany or for any other purpose which contain the financial informations and the data flow to the journal ledger maybe through interface, automatically through interface, or you have to manually enter into the journal ledger, but the transactions are first recorded in the application. So applications contain the financial transactions which need to be recorded in the journal ledger. So there are two ways as I told. One is the manual. You have to look into the transactions and manually record into the journal ledger, or the application's data can be ingested to the journal ledger through interface. And then friends, we need to know about the subledger. The second way to record the transactions in the GL is subledger. Subledger is nothing but is a subset of your ERPs. Subledger we maintain for accounts payable, accounts receivable, fixed asset, or an inventory. It's not an exhaustive list, but I just given you a few examples on the types of subledger generally the company maintain. So for example, if we talk about AP, it contains all master data of the vendor, each and every vendor. When we talk about master data, it's legal entity informations of the vendor, bank account, right? It's like an identity of the vendor is there in the subledger record, and the vendor code get generated. And those vendor code are linked to the GL account ultimately because subledger data flows into the GL. Right friends? So AP subledger contain all the required informations that are there in the invoice, like invoice date, invoice number, or settlement date, the material or a service related informations, what you purchase, or it is connected to PO also. You can't have these information direct in the journal ledger because these fields are there only in the subledger, and GL only contain the GL account code. You cannot maintain the vendor wise data in the GL. That is why we need the subledgers, right? If suppose you have a transactions with n number of customer and you need the outstanding or a aging report, you can't get it from, if you are just maintaining the journal ledger. You need to maintain the sub ledger if you want the informations by vendor, because you cannot maintain the data by vendor in the journal ledger. That is why we need the sub ledger. But ultimately the sub ledger data flows to your GL. And the third way to post the transactions in the GL is a manual journal entry. As I told you, the application data can flow into the GL through interface, or otherwise you have to manually post the transactions. When we manually post the transaction, those transactions are known as a manual journal entry. Or whenever you don't have the applications which get auto interfaced to the GL, you don't have the sub ledger, that is where for some of the transactions where you don't have applications, auto interface or a sub ledger, you have to post those entry as a manual journal entry. Manual journal entry are those entries where you have to put manual efforts and the transaction get directly recorded into the GL account. Right, so those transactions are known as a manual journal entries recorded into the GL. Right, so GL is a base which contain the overall amount of AR, AP, inventory, fixed asset, cash, P&L line item like salary, rent, means it's like your trial balance, right? On the basis of which the financial statements like P&L, balance sheet, cash flows are being prepared. So GL is a basic to prepare, is a collection of a group of account which is the base to prepare your P&L, balance sheet and a cash account. It's a basis to prepare the financial statement. Journal ledger, as I told you, the data flow from three sources: application, sub-ledger or a manual journal entries. And the transactions, any transactions having the financial impact are being recorded in the GL. ERPs can be two types: customized ERP like Oracle or SAP, or a standardized ERP like Tally. ERPs, in the ERPs, journal ledger is a central repository of your financial or accounting informations. As I told you, the journal ledger contain the all accounts which are required to prepare the financial statement, right? Which is a summary of the n number of transactions that took place in the business on a daily basis. It's like you study throughout the year and the result report card is a summary of your efforts that you put in place in the particular class, right? It's so the trial balance is which contains all the GL based on the transaction that took place in a day-to-day basis in the business. It's a summarized number, overall number for each and every category of account. As I told you, AP, AR, fixed asset, capital, investment, P&L line items, rent, salary, inventory, or your, it may be a direct expense, it may be an indirect expense. So it contains all the GL on the basis of which financial statement is prepared. Guys, that's all from my side, friends. Don't forget to leave your comment and subscribe my videos, which will encourage me to make it better and better. Thank you very much.